Keith, welcome home. We're back here at the home of Edina Hibs, where your football career first started many years ago. What do you remember about starting your football here at Edina?
I love playing here. I played school football along at Green Dykes Primary School along the road, and on a Saturday morning, and you would go home, get a quick lunch, and then you would head up to the Jewel, where we are just today, and played with Edina Hibs in the afternoon, and I loved it. And I know nowadays that my development job, it's not ideal, it's not what we ask the kids to do now, but that was what you done at the time, and you played Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and I played here with a lot of good mates over the years at Edina from I was 12-year-old till I was 16-year-old. A lot of good players, a lot of guys that just played for the fun, to play in the local area, and a lot of guys who went on and played local amateur teams, local junior teams, and guys that went on and played senior. So it's been great looking back at all the guys that you played with over the years and what they're doing with their lives now. But it was a place that was thriving every Saturday morning, and with the younger players, and then the Saturday afternoon the youth players come and play their games on the free pitches outside. So yeah, a lot of good memories.
It was the start of your journey, and obviously in green and white as well. But did you pick it because it was your local boys club team, or was it because you got to wear the Hibs kit?
I was just lucky. It was the Hibs kit, but it was a local club, and it was a club. If you wanted to play football in this area, there wasn't too many teams that were organised to play in the Saturday fixtures. So this is the place that everyone come along hoping they'd get selected. At that time, it wasn't easy to get a game, because they only had one team that played on a Saturday at under 13. So you come along and you worked hard at training, and you were hoping to get picked on the Saturday afternoon, and it was just part of the tradition. If you stayed in this area, you played for Edina, you played in the Hibs strips. A lot of guys that were Hearts fans didn't enjoy that part of it, but I used to love coming along, and you never thought at that time at 12-year-old that you would play with Edina and you'd actually go on and play for the Hibs first team. So we all dreamed it on these Saturdays that we could maybe make that step up, and I was one of the lucky ones.
Who were your contemporaries? Because there was quite a few well-known players that eventually made it into senior football.
Yeah, no, over the years at Edina, it was just because it was a well-run club, and it had good pitches. The pitches are not too bad now, but they were great pitches to play on, and this building is completely changed now, but it was so well run. There were snooker tables, there were dart boards, that you could come here and have fun before you went out and played football. It was just a thriving place to be, and that's why it attracted all the probably the good players from all over Edinburgh. I was lucky I was local, but John Hughes, Big Yogi, just won the Scottish Cup, played here. He was a Leaf boy. Wee Robbo, who was up at Parsons Green Primary School, played here. Stuart Ray, who Hibs, every club in Britain were after Stuart Ray, and Hibs eventually signed him, and I'm not too sure if he got a couple of injuries early on in his career and didn't quite make it at Hibs, but he was a star player. David Rennie, who again come from the Leaf side of town, went in from here to sign for Leeds United. So all these guys, they're just cracking players that you played along with every Saturday, and it's just interesting to see how they all went on to play with these different professional clubs.
So how pleased are you that now, on the 50th anniversary of Edina Hibs, that they've reconnected with Hibernian and are now part of the Hibs family again?
Yeah, that'll be massive for the local community, because the clubs has went through in the doldrums for the last few years. There's not been as many teams as usual. So with this new partnership, with Hibs taking interest in Edina Hibs again, the local parents will know, and they'll get good press, and hopefully they'll encourage our kids to come along. The coaches here do a great job. You know, they're here, they're volunteers, and volunteers do so much great work in the grassroots side of the game. Edina's got all these grassroots coaches now who'll get a boost, and now they've got the Hibs kit on, the kids have got the Hibs kit on, so I'm sure that the club will start thriving again.
Just looking at the situation then, a lot of folk will know the history of Edina Hibs. They were obviously formed by Hibs supporters, weren't they, 50 years ago? What do you know about the history of the club?
As you say, there's a miners club there, and I'm sure there used to be a supporters bus that left every week to go to Easter Road to home and away games, and from there they wanted to start their own teams for the local kids, and having that Hibs connection, Edina Hibs was born, and it was a really, really top club in Scotland. You know, the teams through all age levels were winning Scottish Cups and local leagues for years and years. probably through the 70s and 80s, and it was great rivalry with Salverson boys clubs and Tynecastle and Hutchie Vale, who are all still going strong. But Edina were up there with these top clubs and producing players for the local junior teams, amateur teams and senior sides.
Because you eventually cost us $500,000 when you signed from Dundee, but you were originally an S form, weren't you, with Hibs, off the back of playing for Edina Hibs?
That was it. The Hibs scout was a lad called Jimmy McManus, who had strong connections with Edina Hibs. So any player that Jimmy would see, he would try and get along to Edina Hibs. So I was one of these players that was at Edina Hibs, who Jimmy felt I would be good enough to play for the Hibs eventually. So he signed me on an S for him for 12 till I was 12-year-old, promised £5 a week. This is the thing at Hibs will do me still. When I was 12-year-old, I was promised £5 a week, which will be paid back to me when I signed the full-time contract. So I was signed from 12-year-old to 16-year-old, and when I reached 16, I got the news that unfortunately not good enough to join the full-time setup. There's other players better than me at the time, which you just got to take on the chin. It was probably heartbreaking at the time, but I never got my £5 a week for 12 to 16, so I need to work that out. But
you must have got a decent signing on fee though when you made the $500,000.
That was built into the new signing on fee I got. But so that was the news I got. I was all set to leave school to go on the Hibs ground staff. I thought early May, and I got told that in the middle of May that year that it was Jimmy Rourke actually who told me, who was my Hibs favourite. And Jimmy was brilliant, and we still have a laugh about it now. But Jimmy was the one who was given the news to tell me. Unfortunately, there's better players on the S forms, and we'll not be bringing you in. So at that time, it was difficult, but I just made sure that I was going to. And Jimmy's last words to me were, "I'm sorry, son, but it's not my decision. But go and prove them wrong. I think you're good enough, but I've been told to tell you you're no good enough at this stage." And these words always remained with me. Go and prove them wrong. And so I went back to Edina Hibs, where they didn't have a 18s team at the time. So I went to the club who just along at Peffermill, Melbourne Thistle, who my mates were all playing for at the time, because there was no Edina team at that age group. Went back to Melbourne, played 2 years at under 18s, and I was lucky enough to keep playing at decent standard, where I got asked to along to various clubs. I got knockbacks for Arbroaths and Cowdenbeaths. At that time I went on trial, and eventually a lad, Arthur Bellamy, who had so much belief in me, and he kept taking me back to Rafe Rovers and telling the manager, Gordon Wallace, that you need to sign this guy, he'll score goals for you in the second division. And about 3 or 4 times I went over and Gordon Wallace refused to sign me, but Arthur Bellamy just kept taking me back over, and eventually Gordon Wallace says, right, we'll give him a chance, and he signed me as a 17-year-old at Rafe Rovers, and that was the chance I needed. And for there I went straight into the first team and done really well with Rafe for 4 years to get my move to Dundee. So it's the breaks that you get. I could have got that knockback for Hibs and says I'm just going to chuck the game, but with Jimmy Rookes telling me about going there, you're good enough, go and prove them wrong, go and keep playing, that kept me driving me on. My dad kept driving me on, he had belief in me. That was good enough. Maybe not to come back to Hibs. I never thought for a minute I would come back to play for Hibs, but I wanted to play at some sort of senior level. So to go to Rafe Rovers and have quite a good 2 or 3 seasons there, scoring goals regular. I got a chance with Dundee to go full time, and Jockey Scott gave me a chance there. And it was funny because we played. Obviously, you start playing against the top sides. So every time I played Hibs, I made sure I got my name in the profile and the programme, and every question was, who's your favourite team? Hibs. Would you want to play Easter Road? And just to make sure that Hibs knew I was still keen to go back. And Alec Marr eventually gave me that chance after 4 or 5 seasons at Dundee. But it cost him $500,000. I think it's about £400 they'll do me for that, 12 to 16, so I put that on my sign-on fee.